This is one that once I heard it, I was like, this has to be one of the greatest solos I've ever heard. And he's playing with some great people, so it's not unlikely that you're going to hear something exceptional. So again, I'm not going to throw up the name right away. Let's just jump right into it. So this is, in my opinion, in the top 10, and I'm putting this at the top of the list, although these could fluctuate, but I'm going to put it in the top 10 regardless. And for now, I'm going to think of this as in the top 10 of what I consider to be one of the greatest solos that I've ever heard. And here we go in the final one. Let's do it. It's just monstrous. Okay, Daryl Stuermer with Jean-Luc Ponty. Jean-Luc Ponty, electric violin. We know Daryl Stuermer on electric acoustic guitar. Patrice Rushen on electric and acoustic piano. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't know she was on this. I forgot. She's become notable to me as far as other people that she'd play with, and she had a R&B hit in the early 80s, I believe, but I've also seen her some of her earlier bands that she was playing with, and yeah, she's amazing on keyboards, electric piano. Tom Fowler on bass guitar, and Norman Fearington drums and percussion. So again, Daryl Stuermer, yeah, this came out, did I say that? Yeah, 1975. About the same time Alan Holdsworth with Soft Machine released anyway. So yeah, obviously we know whoever's playing with Jean-Luc Ponty is going to be a complete package type of player. But honestly, whereas Alan Holdsworth, I feel like they're kind of like stark differences between Alan Holdsworth, who also played with Jean-Luc Ponty, I think on a later album, Enigmatic Oceans. Yeah, I think the one after this. Yeah, but very different players. Alan Holdsworth, very like seamless, very legato style, like lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs, very smooth transition. Whereas this guy's lines are not that. They are, I feel like he was doing those runs and moving up, and the movement was crazy with this guy, but I could hear him. It was not legato. He was playing every note, but it didn't sound like it was, jarring or separated. It still sounded super clean. Yeah, I'd be wildly curious to know how he played, how he came up with these solos that he was playing on, how much he thought about them beforehand, worked them out to some degree, because there's no way this could be improvised. He had to have some idea, because it was so similar to like a Django. If it was just spontaneous, I would put him in that category, because there was so much variety, so much I would say development in this piece. There's so much development and so articulate in the clarity, and that's why I have to put this one. It's up there with the very with the Steely Dan solos, just very complex and very compact and very much like wonderful nuances, throughout their solos, and it took them, whatever number of times and different players to find the right one that they wanted to encapsulate in that particular song. But just, yeah, great voice, great vision in those solos, and very impactful. So I'm curious about how this one with this band, because obviously this is with, this is not a rock band, pop band, fusion band, or fusion. This is not a, like Steely Dan. This is much more like, whereas Jean-Luc Ponty can improvise, to this level. So I'm curious with Daryl Stuermer. He went on later to play with Genesis. But yeah, I'd never heard this. I was like, for 1975, I have to put this up there. That was just an amazing solo. like in all respects. Anyway, in the early 70s, he was playing with Milwaukee-based jazz rock band called Sweet Bottom, playing 5 gigs a week. During one of those gigs, in 1975, the keyboardist George Duke, then with the Mothers of Invention, noticed him and suggested his name to jazz violinist Jean-Luc Ponty, who was looking for a guitarist to join his band. After a successful audition, he became a full-time member and is featured on 3 of their albums from 1975 to 1977. Aurora, Imaginary Voyage, and Enigmatic Oceans. So, yeah, Alan Holdsworth, I have to look back, did play on one of those same. I think he was also on Enigmatic. He shared guitar duties with Daryl Stuermer. So that would have been an amazing couple of guys to like see each other, seeing themselves and the others, what they were doing, because just amazing players. But yeah, very different, very differentiated as far as their style and how they probably played. So in addition to Ponty, he played on George Duke's solo album, and then later on in 1977, from assistance of friend bassist Alphonso Johnson from Weather Report, no slouch for a friend, was recommended as a replacement for Steve Hackett to support Genesis for live performances. And then a chance meeting with drummer Chester Thompson, who later replaced Bill Buford as their touring drummer in 1976, convinced Stuermer to go for audition and landed the spot on the same day. So, 1975. Daryl Stuermer on Aurora 2 from Jean-Luc Ponty. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.